Welcome back to the channel. In the previous tutorial, we have seen how we can write a hello world program in C programming language. In this tutorial, we will see how we can write a program in order to take the user input and how we can display that on the screen. Now, just to explain this, what we will do is we will write a program which will ask the user to enter his age. Then we will read that value entered by the user and then we will display that on the screen. So how we can do that? Now here what I have done is I have used the code that we have written in the previous tutorial. We have included this stdio.h header file and then we have the entry point, that is the main function of our program. Now this stdio.h header file provides us some functionality, for example some functions to display some text on the screen and also some functions in order to take the input from the user. So we're going to use the functionality from this stdio.h header file. So in this program, as I said before, we will ask the user to enter his name, and when the user provides a value, we need a place to store that, and for that we will use variables. Now the name that the user is going to enter will be a whole number. It will be of type integer, and that's why I will create a variable called as age and I will store a value of 1 in this variable. Okay. Now the next thing that we can do is we can display a message asking the user to enter his age. For that we can use the printf function, and here in this printf function we will say enter your age. Okay. Now after seeing this message, the user will enter his age, but what we have to do is we have to read that input and we have to store that in this age variable. In C language, we can use a function called as scanf for that. You can think of this printf as print formatted. You can think this scanf as scan formatted. So it will scan for a formatted data and it will read that. So here the data that we want to read is of type integer. And for this scanf function, first we have to provide the format in which it has to scan for the input. And then we have to say where you have to store the read value. Now here, the data that we want to read is of type integer. And that's why in this double quotes, I will specify the format as %d. This %d is called as format specifier, which is used to specify the format of data. For example, here we are saying integer, and for that we use %d. And after that, we have to say where we want to store the read value. We want to store that in this age variable. And in the previous tutorial, we have discussed that the scanf is a function which will contain a group of statements which will perform the action of taking the input from the keyboard. But in this case, what we want to do is we want to store that input in this age variable. So what we are saying is scanf function, this is the memory location where we want to store the value that you have scanned or read from the keyboard or the user. In order to provide the memory address, we have to use this address of operator, which is denoted by this ampersand symbol. So it will be address of the variable age. What we are saying is we want you to store the data that you have read in this memory location, and that memory location is nothing but the memory location of this variable age. Okay. Now what happens after this function call is the age variable will get the value that the user has entered. Now the last thing that we can do here is we can display this on the screen. For that we can again use the printf function, and here we will say your age is, and then I will have a colon, and then I will use %d, and then I will refer this age variable. So again here with this printf function, we are formatting the text that we want to display on the screen. And what I want to do is I want to say your age is, and then whatever the value that is present in this age variable, I want to display that. For that we have to use the placeholders, and this placeholder right now I'm using here is for this integer type of data that is stored in this age variable. And for that we use %d. Here this %d is called as a format specifier, which is used for integer type of data. So I'm saying here I want you to display this text, and then I have this placeholder for a value of type integer. And we say that by using this %d, and then we provide the value for this placeholder, which is the value present in this age variable. That's it. Now we save this program, and if I run this program, it will say enter your age. I'm going to enter my age. And after that, if I hit the enter key in my keyboard, it says your age is the value that you have entered. So what we have done, we have displayed a message on the screen, and then we have read the value that the user has entered, and then we have displayed that. Now here I want to talk about some of the mistakes that the beginners do. One of the main mistakes that a beginner does here is, while specifying the memory address for this scanf function, they forget this address of operator, which is denoted by this ampersand symbol. They only write something like age. That is not valid because age is containing a value of 1. For this scanf function, we have to say this is the format in which you have to read the value, and this is the memory location where you have to save this value. If you only write age here, something like this, then it just means that we want to store that at the memory location 1, and that is not valid. What we want to do is we want to say read the data in this format and store that in this memory location, and that memory location in this particular example will be the address used for this variable age, and that's why we have to use this ampersand symbol. So this is the mistake the beginners make. While displaying the value using the printf, what we are saying, we want to display the value that is present in this variable age, and for that we just provide the variable name just like this. Now this is the way these functions are designed. When you learn about the pass by value and pass by reference and how functions work, you will actually understand why we have to provide the address here for the scanf function. The scanf function has to modify the value which is defined in some other function. But for this printf function, it just have to display the value which will be copied. Now again, about this last part, if you don't understand at this particular moment, it's absolutely fine. Just understand that with the scanf, you have to use address of operator, and with the printf, you don't have to do that. Okay, so this is it for this particular video. Experiment with your code. I want you to write a program where you read some other value. For example, write a program to read your weight and then display that on the screen. So this is it guys for this particular video. If you like it, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. And if you have anything to say, write that in the comment box. For more tutorials, subscribe to the channel.